August Underground's Mordum is a 2003 horror film created and distributed by Toetag Pictures. It is the sequel to 2001's August Underground, and was followed by August Underground's Penance in 2007. Plot: like its predecessor, Mordum is presented as a degraded home movie shot by serial killers. In this case, returning character Peter, his sadomasochistic girlfriend Krusty, and her sexually friend Sabina, Elzan Mehmedov, depraved man-child brother Maggot. The status of the cameraman from the first film is unrevealed. After Peter walks in on Krusty and Maggot having sex, an argument erupts between him and Krusty, but it is quelled when Krusty sexually arouses Peter and herself via self-mutilation with a piece of glass. The two then break into a crack house, where Peter beats the owner to death with a hammer, while Krusty films the filth-encrusted building and the decaying corpse of an overdose addict. When Peter starts stripping the body of the house's owner, claiming it will be easier to dispose of without clothes, another fight breaks out between him and Krusty when the latter questions his motive for undressing the body, accusing him of being a faggot. The film then switches to a scene of Krusty demonstrating her love of self-harm to Maggot and a friend, cutting her scarred arm with a knife. Krusty and Maggot are then shown removing a bound and masked woman from a box the two have been keeping her in for a long time. Maggot rapes the woman while Krusty cheers him on and taunts the victim. When Maggot is finished, he lets a male captive out of another box, and he and Krusty force him to perform a penectomy on himself with a pair of cuticle scissors, then seal him back up. Krusty mimics oral sex with it, then violates the female victim from earlier with it. Scenes of the three killers in town, tormenting a shopkeeper, eating fast food, and wandering around, are shown, followed by Maggot and Peter watching and masturbating to Krusty torturing two women, sexually abusing and repeatedly vomiting on them while a male body rots in the corner of the room. Eventually, the women are killed. Maggot disembowels one, chewing on her spilled innards and having sex with them, while the other is beat to death by Krusty and Peter, the latter dragging the body away to presumably have sex with it. The three then get drunk, and afterward Maggot is found in the bathroom by his sister, shaving and cutting himself to look beautiful for Krusty. The trio are next shown playing in the snow, attending a concert, meeting up with friends, gang-raping a woman, and going to a piercing shop, where Maggot receives a nose ring, and gets into a fight with Peter over his relationship with Krusty. The group then visit another serial killer, who shows them the contents of his shed, mutilated bodies, dying victims, and a headless and maggot-covered toddler, which Maggot eats a chunk of. Later, while the others are asleep, the new killer borrows their camera, and films himself taunting and slitting the throat of one of his female captives. When next seen, the trio have attacked a family, killing the father first by hanging him, while Peter tortures the mother. Krusty watches Maggot have sex with the corpse of the young daughter in a bathtub. The three get into a fight, which ends with Maggot slitting his own throat, followed by the film cutting to static. In a post-credits scene, a cat is shown killing and eating a mouse. In the same DVD, there is an altered form called Maggot's Cut. In this, the whole point of view is seen through Maggot, and it is actually revealed that he is of the opposite gender. Cast: Christy Wiles as Krusty, Fred Vogel as Peter Mountain, Michael Todd Schneider as Maggot, Jeremy Cruz as man shown having sex in window, Killjoy as fourth killer, M. Cadith, Erica Schultz, E.J. Midian Crosby as brunette vomit torture victim, Elmo Painter as blonde vomit torture victim, Dave Brown as dead man in vomit torture sequence, Art Ettinger as male friend, Rick Hundrache as Jonesy, Tim Grubb Jessica's dead junkie, Alanis Leith his female friend, Shelby Vogel as fourth killer's victim, dead mother, Shannon Thames, Chris Shaw as dead father, Daisy as Daisy. Super Collider. Reception. The exploitation film database The Worldwide Celluloid Massacre has Mordum ranked as the third most vile film viewed by the website, below Salio, or the 120 Days of Sodom and the Angel's Melancholy. The review of the film, which is categorized as worthless, referred to it as pointless hardcore depravity. Controversy. While traveling to Canada to attend the Rue Morgue Festival of Fear in Toronto, co-director and writer Fred Vogel was arrested, pending charges of transporting obscene materials into Canada. When copies of Mordum and its predecessor were found by customs officials among the merchandise he had intended to bring to the convention, the charges were dropped. After Vogel had spent roughly 10 hours in customs prison, and his films were sent to Ottawa for further observation. Copies of Mordum were confiscated by Australian customs officials in 2004. The reason given for the seizure of the DVDs being that they offend against the standards of morality, decency and propriety generally accepted by reasonable adults, to the extent that they should not be imported. Official website. August Underground's Mordum at the Internet Movie Database.